Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of what seems to have fallen into a weekly cycle of these videos where I share my journey from corporate life to entrepreneur, for want of a better term, and hopefully share knowledge that will be of use to you or will be of use to someone that you know who is either looking to make a positive change or is maybe looking to make some sort of career change, and so that's why I share these videos. So last time I talked about the point up to which I'd open my website for business, on that fateful day, sometime in October 2015, we took the password off, and the website was wide to the world, and nothing really happened. You expect this fanfare, you expect all sorts of stuff to go on, and it was just open for business, and that was all it was. And I did actually get an order on the first day. I got an order from someone who had subscribed to the holding page and the newsletter, and then when I launched the website, a few hours later, they came along and ordered. But other than that, the first few days were quite quiet, and in fact, the first few months were much quieter than I expected them to be. I'd had all these grand visions of selling hundreds and hundreds of notebooks, and realistically, it was way lower than that. And I was selling a handful a month, and but I think that's the way for me that it had to start, and it started slow, and it's built and built and built and built. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of good entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, will tell you that all of these things take time, that it's not going to be an instant success. It's, you're not going to overnight just, have more customers that you can deal with and sell more product than you could ever handle. It's just not going to happen. And in fact, if it does, then it's likely to have been sort of in a sort of hacked growth kind of way, and often that's not sustainable. Personally, I always wanted to build something that was long term. It perhaps has taken a lot longer than I expected to, and I think that's a key learning and something that I would really try and emphasize to anyone who's setting out on this path, that it's going to take a lot longer than you think. You will be wildly optimistic on some days, and you will be incredibly pessimistic on others. Just know that it's going to take longer than you think it is, and you need to be prepared for that. But if you believe in what you're doing and you believe in the purpose that you're following, that can sustain you. But yes, I go back to my case, and I remember this analogy around the time that someone said that, opening up a website on the internet these days is very much like opening up a bricks and mortar shop in the middle of a field, in the middle of a countryside. There are no roads, there are no passing traffic, the cows are not going to buy anything from you. So you have to build all of that infrastructure in order to sell, from your bricks and mortar shop. And it's the same thing with an online shop, that you have to build the audience. And one of the things that I would do differently, if I had my time again, is I would certainly have tried to build a lot more momentum and a lot more social media voice before I opened my site. As I was leaving my corporate job, I had a few lunches, and a couple of them were with people I knew who were very successful. They'd built their own businesses, and they asked, what are you going to do? And at that time it was coaching, and they said, have you got clients lined up for the first week after? And I was like, no, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait until I leave, get that out of the way, maybe take a little bit of time off, and then start building. And both of them were very much, no, that's not the way you really want to do it. You need to be trying to build that now. You need to be building clients now, so that when you start, you've got momentum to carry forward, that you've got something, you've got work coming in, you've got money coming in. And I thought, well, what do they know? I'm doing it differently. I'm going to do it my way. And what they knew was right, and what I knew wasn't. And if I could give you any advice, if this is a journey that you're planning, I would say follow that. I would say try and get some momentum going. Try and have things ready for the day or two after, or if you're going to take a couple of weeks off, that you've already got stuff in the diary for that point, because you sort of slow down to a stop and then you've got to try and get momentum going again. And that getting that momentum going can be really quite difficult. And so it pays to try and keep that going. So going back to my web store, I'd opened, I'd not really made myself known in the community. I'd not really tried to understand the market in massive amounts of detail. And so when my store opened and I'm not really quite sure what to do, starting those tasks means that I've just not wasted months, but things are not going to happen as quickly as I wanted them to. So it took me a long time to find my voice. It took me a long time to find my voice on social media. Actually, a little learning from me is that I think one of the reasons it took me a long time to find my voice is that I was trying to put all sorts of slants on it, and I was trying to put different brand perspectives on it, and I was trying to follow this particular lead. And in reality, the time I found my voice was when I just decided to be honest and open and just share. And actually, that's the voice that I think people want to hear. They want to hear the truth. They want to hear honesty. They don't want spin around it. They want to hear your story, and some people will resonate with your story and a lot of people won't resonate with your story, but that's fine. It's a very big world. And depending on what you're doing, it's a global world. And, just because people local to you don't get what you're trying to do, there will be a pocket of people somewhere, or a disparate group of people who do believe in what you're doing. So anyway, I digress. But I think this whole idea of finding your voice and getting out there and participating in the communities that you want to do business with is something you have to start way before day one. It's a day minus 50 task. It's a day minus 100 task. It's the stuff that you have to do every day in, day out, so that when you are ready to announce that thing, when you are ready to do that thing, that there's a group of people that hopefully will listen to you. And you're not doing it, you're not doing it for payback. You're doing it to be part of that community, and then you're sharing something else and something that you hope that people will resonate with. But as I try and pull it back again to my own web stories, that I opened up the tumbleweed blue. It took months to build up because you need momentum, and I just didn't have any going into it. But when you persevere, it does come. And when you feel comfortable and try and lose the fear, we all have fear. And especially for perhaps, I don't know, I don't think I'm unique, but I'm going to generalize and say my generation, where you're perhaps not quite used to sharing so openly in social media, that it is quite an uncomfortable thing. And actually looking back on it now, no one really cares, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that everyone has their own stuff. Everyone is dealing with their own issues. Yes, they may pay you momentary attention, and they may wish to sort of be part of something with you, but ultimately they're focused on their own thing. So if you're imagining, I can't do this video, I can't do this post, I can't do this article, I can't share my experience because of what people will say, actually you should just put that to one side, because I don't think people are not paying that much attention. Yes, if you do something right and you do something interesting, people will give you attention for that moment in time, but actually other than that, they're busy doing their own stuff. So I'm trying to pull this back now. So really, if you are planning on sort of starting your own business, if you're planning on getting something out there, then before you go live on day one, you've got to have been building up to it. You've got to have been building content. You've got to be participating in communities. You've got to be building your knowledge, so that when you go live on day one, you've got something there. You've got credibility already. You've got experience already, and people are more willing to listen to you. And that's something that I just didn't do enough of in the run up to opening my business. I had something I passionately believed in. I had a product that I was incredibly proud of, but I didn't have any momentum. And that was the thing that took time to build. And thankfully, you know, that momentum is building now. And although it speeds up and slows down at times, it's very much heading in the right direction, but it's taken quite some time. And I could have just started earlier. And that would be the you know, the learning that I would share with you. So yes, so you know, that's really the story of the first probably first 6 or 7 months of going live with William Hanna Limited, was realizing that I had no momentum, trying to figure out what my voice was going to be, and putting that into practice. And that then did start moving, and then the next key phase, and the thing that I'm going to talk about next time, is the fact that something will come along and try and derail you, and something will come along and something that you hadn't considered. My wife jokes that for a long time one of my favorite phases was I hadn't appreciated that. And I didn't, and that's where the learning comes in. And there are things that you hadn't realised that are good things, and there are things that you hadn't realised that could be quite difficult. And I'll talk to you about some of those next time and how I dealt with those. And yes, really, that's for next time. So there we go. That's this week's rolling rambling video. I'm hoping that you're finding some value from them. I'm hoping that you think that they're okay to share with other people who you think might get some value from them. I'm very much appreciating the comments. I'm very much appreciating the positivity that I'm getting. So thank you very, very much for that. And hopefully I will keep adding value. And if there is something that you would like me to talk about, if there is something that you would like me to share, please do let me know in the comments, and maybe I can integrate it into a future video. So yes, all that remains is to say thank you very much and see you next time.